And we're coming to you live from the Rocket Health Studios here in Southwest Florida. Welcome to another edition of the Tyler McClosky Show, coming to you live every single Saturday from 92.5 Fox News. And every single week, you guys already know the drill. We talk about all the facts, not feelings, in regards to your health insurance. And this is the week that you really need to pay attention. If you kind of listen in passing, and you haven't really made decisions about your health insurance, and you're just a fan of the show, thank you for being a loyal listener. But this is the week to really start paying attention. So I'm going to start by giving out all the information on how to contact the show, a little bit about us, what we do. But there is something very important this week that I am going to go over. I'm going to make it as non-boring as absolute possible. But we have to get into the weeds about what is happening right now behind your back with the government and your health insurance that could be a massive impact on your decision in regards to all of your health insurance related items. It is very, very important that we pay attention to what's going on right now. So if you do have any questions about your health insurance, if you're looking for a quote to get a new plan, if what you're on now is costing you way too much money, like the Affordable Care Act, ACA, Obamacare, or your group coverage, you can always call into the show. Myself or my teammates will help you get a new health insurance plan, possibly at a better price or a better plan altogether. Phone number to reach out directly is 239-633-3140. Again, 239-633-3140, or online at tylermcclosky.com, www.tylermcclosky.com, or you can visit our company website at rockethealth.com, www.rockethealth.com. Now, this is not a teaser. This is not just something to reel you in and try to get you to call into the show today. You know, we give you all the flat out facts every single week in regards to health insurance. But this week is a little bit different. And I tried to hold off on this until I got some information at a conference we were just at, 2 weeks ago, where all the top insurance agencies meet with the actual carriers of the insurance products, the owners, the CEOs, the presidents of the company from companies like United Healthcare, Allstate Health Solutions, Pivot Health, Aetna, Cigna, so many, and kind of strategize what is going on for this year. What are any changes, if anything, to the health insurance market, to plans, to policies, and yes, what government involvement is going on right now today? Something is happening in the next 45 days that could drastically impact every single thing about your health insurance right now. So let's get into it. Again, trying to make this not boring and trying not to get so into the weeds. But I think as I discuss some of this with you guys today, I'm going to read out exactly what the release has been from the government and also what's happened in the past. So coming back to pre-Obamacare, pre-2010, you had the option to purchase major medical health insurance policies on the individual market. You either got them through your companies, you got that through an insurance company or carrier, you got that through a job, or you got that through the state that you were in. Obamacare, aka the Affordable Care Act, gets passed in the year 2010 and starts in 2014. Those laws and those rules were changed by the Obama administration about what could be offered on the private market. And that was the biggest problem with Obamacare. You see, Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, set out to have a good idea to try to take care of people that were uninsurable, which at that time was only 4% of the entire United States of America. Look it up. It's the facts. So it had a good idea. You know, they tried to do the admirable thing, and a lot of insurance companies and carriers gravitated towards that to try to provide those benefits. After year one, when it absolutely blew up in their face, and they realized that the way they set it out to be, that the costs were going through the roof, the implementation of it was horrendous, and the carriers that were providing the benefits all dropped out and backed out because it wasn't sustainable the way they were acting about doing this program. So 2015 comes around, and the private market was still there, and then new rules and regulations were implemented right before the election year of 2016 that totally wiped out that private major medical side of health insurance. Because what people were doing at that time, they were electing what were called short-term major medical plans back in 2014-15 because they were so much more affordable. And they actually gave you major medical benefits to health insurance. Now, what do we mean by major medical? Just take a quick step back. Major medical really just means this, everybody. Some people refer to it as catastrophic coverage. All you need to really understand when you are concerned with major medical catastrophic is you have a deductible. It could be $1,000. It could be $10,000. And after your deductible, everything's basically covered. Again, you're going to have some little things there. You're going to have some things that aren't covered or co-insurance. I'm not going to get in the weeds with that, but hey, I have a deductible. Everything's covered. Catastrophic coverage. You need to be protected and have the peace of mind that if you go into the hospital because you're diagnosed with cancer or you have a heart attack or you have a stroke or you have a major injury and you're in the ICU for 3 weeks and you rack up a $500,000 bill or an $800,000 bill, that you don't care if you have a $5,000 or $10,000 deductible, everything else is covered. That's the general term of major medical catastrophic. Now, the government might have a different definition, but in all intents and purposes, that's what you need to know and be concerned with. So back in 2015, going into 2016, the Obama administration cut down short-term major medical plans because so many people were enrolling in them at that time because it was such a more valued option to them than the Affordable Care Act, that the Obama administration knocked them down to what said, you are no longer able to get these plans for 1 year. The maximum duration that you can get this health insurance plan is 90 days of coverage. It blew up the market. You guys remember that. If you had a major problem with your health insurance between the years of 2016 and 2019, that's the reason why. Now, I say 2019, we'll get into that in a second. So from 2016 to 17 to 18, your major medical options were now only the Affordable Care Act, healthcare.gov, or what was deemed a 90-day short-term policy. Short-term got the real bad rap of what that product was because the government limited the amount of time you could have it. The government said you can only have 90 days worth of coverage. At that time, when it expires, you have to reapply all over again. Well, guess what? The problem is if you were diagnosed with something, if you had a major illness come up, you are now uninsurable. Or you were possibly forced to go on to the Affordable Care Act. Phone number again, 239-633-3140. Again, if you have questions, 239-633-3140. Don't worry, we have everything available, but I need to give the backstory on where we're at today. We're going to go deep into this during this episode, so I hope everybody's paying a lot of attention. So when this happened, what was it? And it was an election year, 2016. Nobody in the world thought that the Trump administration was going to come in. And again, this has nothing to do with politics. It all has to deal with facts. So they thought that short term was going to be a thing of the past. 90 days, it was over. Well, when the Trump administration comes in, remember that's actually January of 2017, they start working to repeal Obamacare, right? Repeal the Affordable Care Act so that carriers can go back to offering full major medical plans. Now, during this entire time, 2016, 17, the beginning of 18, the government, some of the media and the government, look it up, they started referring to all of these private health insurance plans as junk plans. You remember that name? Remember that term, junk plans? Well, yeah, when you take a policy and you limit it down to 90 days and tell somebody that if you get diagnosed with cancer in that time period, you can't renew your policy, well, what do you think it's going to be called? So they tried to force everybody to Obamacare. So the Trump administration comes in and they try to repeal Obamacare. They try to repeal the Affordable Care Act so that the carriers can go back to offering you the better benefits that you wish, because the law stated at that time, you can't offer major medical unless you're on healthcare.gov. Now, if you guys remember in Lee County, Charlotte County, Collier County, you guys had one carrier to choose from in 2017, 18, 19. You remember that? You could only choose the monopoly, Florida Blue, on healthcare.gov. Why? Because every other insurance carrier got out of the market. Now, again, this might upset a lot of people that I'm talking about this, but it's the facts. We're not talking about feelings. So what happened during the Trump administration? At the end of 2018, what Trump was actually able to get passed and do and signed through, he said, all right, you don't want to offer Americans a valuable option for the major medical side on the private market. I'm going to strike down that ruling of 90 days of a short-term major medical. And not only am I going to allow that to go that back to 1 year of coverage, I'm going to increase it up to 3 years of coverage. So, ever since the beginning of 2019, carriers have been able to come to the table and offer what's still, in some minds, listed as short-term major medical, but guess what? For 3 years of full coverage. Again, full catastrophic coverage, everything that you're looking for in a health insurance plan. So this has been great news for who? For you. Now, at the end of the day, as insurance agents, if you guys want to talk or ask our side of the business, what works for us, what doesn't work for us, hey, we're able to pivot and change and be able to offer whatever's available on the market. There's good times, there's bad times. But at the end of the day, this is wholeheartedly the truth. We care about you, the customer, having the best option available. And that's what we gravitate towards. Remember, we have everything. We have limited plans. We have full major medical. We have catastrophic. We have ACA. We have indemnity policies, discount policies, anything you can think of, as long as you, the client, has the best option in front of you. And that's what we talk about all the time. We don't limit you to one plan and one option. So this is what was passed through in 2019, the beginning of 2019, and you guys have been enjoying it ever since. It's been the best thing possible, with the exception of going back to 100% full major medical without having a 3-year duration, having a total long-term duration without canceling it until you get ready for Medicare. It's the best thing that's been available on the market. However, what does that mean? Well, if you listen to me for the last 2 years, you know, I try not to get too much into the weeds of how boring it could be. This is what's threatened the Affordable Care Act. Why? Because so many of you, the individuals, have gone towards these 3-year plans. And these 3-year plans have been phenomenal. I can't believe still to this day how many people call in and don't realize that they're available and how much money they're actually saving. Again, without sacrificing the major medical aspect of your plan. Again, just last week, prime example, Naples, Fort Myers, 60-year-olds, 55-year-olds, all of them in that range. Their healthcare.gov plan is over $3,000 a month for a couple. That same exact couple that takes a high blood pressure, a high cholesterol, and an allergy medication gets a 3-year locked in short-term major medical with United Healthcare or Allstate Health or Pivot Health, and they're in the range of $700 to $900 a month. Period, stop, end of story. That's what it is. Why? Because you're not paying for pregnancy. You're not paying for things that you don't need in a policy. So this option has been phenomenal. But guess what? It may change here very, very soon. So I'm going to get into that exactly. I'm going to take one quick break this week, only one. I'm going to give out our information for anybody that's been listening. 239-633-3140. Again, 239-633-3140 or online, TylerMcClosky.com, www.TylerMcClosky.com. That's TylerMcClosky.com, or my company's website, rockethealth.com, www.rockethealth.com. If you have questions, call, go to the site. We will reach out. We will speak. We will set up an appointment. We'll go over everything for you and take care of what you have. So all that rant about what was going on, what might change? We're going to talk about that in just a second. We're going to take one quick commercial break. You guys are listening to the Tyler McClosky Show on 92.5 Fox News. All right, coming back. Welcome everybody back to the Tyler McClosky Show. Coming to you live from the Rocket Health Studios on 92.5 Fox News every single Saturday at 11 a.m. And before the break, we gave out a lot of information on the true facts of the backstory of what's going on in the health insurance market. What is possibly about to change? Let me read it to you. Here's different releases and things that are coming out of CMS about what they're trying to do to the private health insurance market. So I'm going to go ahead and read this to you out loud, and you can kind of tell me what you think is going on with this. CMS is now targeting an April release for a proposed rule on the sale of short-term, limited duration health insurance plans, according to HHS. The past two regulatory agendas has indicated a proposed rule would be out last August, but has been pushed back. Why is that? Because everybody knows that if this goes through, the uproar that's going to happen from the general public. But you guys need to be informed about what's going on. All right, it says short-term plans, which are generally cheaper than unsubsidized comprehensive plans, do not have to follow the Affordable Care Act's consumer protections, meaning they can deny coverage, charge sicker people more, that's actually not true, and do not have to cover essential benefits. Oh, correct. It does not have to cover essential benefits like if you don't want pregnancy, if you're a man, you don't have to pay for pregnancy coverage. If you are not in need of mental health, then you don't have to have that option on there. If you don't want to have prescription coverage, you can choose to drop that portion of the plan. But guess what? It is included if you want it. So that's the difference of the don't have to follow the Affordable Care Act protections. So they can set cost limits and they can rescind a policy. Democrat lawmakers and some insurers referred to them short-term products as junk plans and have been pushing Biden administration officials to issue a rule restricting their sale. Do you hear this? Specifically, they have called for a repeal of the Trump administration's rule finalizing in 2018 that allows short-term plans to last for up to 1 year and be renewed for up to 3 years, and to either return to an Obama-era policy that restricted plan durations to 3 months or ban the sale entirely. This is coming out directly from HHS and CMS. And guess what? There's nothing that they can attack me on except for me reading an exact release from them. And I get so undeniably passionate about this because it affects you. And what's really going to happen with this is that if this does get passed through, which I don't believe that it will, that means you, the consumer, are really going to have to be forced to choose between Obamacare and real junk insurance. Because now all the indemnity companies are going to come back around and they're going to offer their services as if it was major medical. But guess what? A lot of you listening today will have to go to indemnity insurance because you simply cannot afford to pay thousands of dollars a month more than your mortgage for your health insurance premiums. And I do not want to hear about any of the BS of people talking about what the subsidies may or may not be. The average American living here in Lee County, Collier County, Charlotte County, Cape Coral, Fort Myers, Naples, Marco Island is not receiving a subsidy to offset their $3,000 to $4,000 premiums. Look it up, find it out for yourself if you don't believe me. So what I do recommend right now is to make sure if you are in a transition period and you are looking to possibly change to get on to a policy, you better do it while you can. Because the good news is that while they are offered up for sale, you are able to get that policy in place. And once you have it, you have it. They can't take it away from you until that contract ends. Because remember, when you're signing up for these policies, just like Obamacare, they want to state that it's limited duration. Yeah, you know what? They're right. You are actually signing up for a policy that guarantees you coverage for a minimum of 3 years. You have a contract for 3 years. Go ahead and look up what that policy is on healthcare.gov. That contract ends on December 31st of every single year. So even if you got a policy starting on April 1st, guess what? You bought a 9-month duration major medical healthcare.gov plan because that plan ends on December 31st every single year. Now, can you renew it? Sure. If the company's available, if the plan's available, if the company didn't go bankrupt, if they didn't pull out of the county. So when you buy a plan in the private market, you're also buying a duration plan. You're buying a contract that states you have the right to have this plan for a maximum or limited time of up to 3 years. Take advantage of it now while you can, because you never know what the government may try to pull with everything that's going on right now. This is set to happen in April. Now, I believe with the pushback and the blowback that they will be getting, and they have continued to get from this, I don't believe that they're going to push it through. Now, you're going to hear a lot of insurance agents try to use the scare tactic to you all to try to sell you today. My only tactic in selling you is saying, hey, you need health insurance. You need it while you're healthy. Get it while you can. Because if, God forbid, you got cancer tomorrow, now guess what? You are uninsurable on the private market. So always take advantage of getting the insurance while you can and while you're able and healthy. But let's not pretend that this isn't going around. Look it up for yourself. Do your own research on every single thing. And if there's anybody that would like to talk about this openly, I'd love to have you discuss it with you, go over it. And if there's anything that you all can do is continue to build up that private market industry, call into your local congressman and tell them to not let this vote go through and never waver your position. But take advantage of what you can while you have the opportunity to do so. These plans are here. They are the best option for people that qualify for it. And guess what? No, not everybody qualifies. You have to be into decently good health. I don't even want to say no pre-existing conditions, because people with pre-existing conditions can still get accepted on to the private market. You have to go through underwriting. We all know what underwriting is. We've all had to deal with it before in our lives. And that's why I love talking to this audience more than anything else, because you guys get it. You understand what insurance was like prior 2010. And look at the mess the government has made now. But don't forget the options you have on that private market. This is your time to act to make sure it doesn't pass you by. You don't want to wait until April and then the vote comes And let's say they make any changes, and then you file your taxes and find out that you got screwed on your subsidy and you have to pay it all back. And then if you reach out at that time, you might find out your only option are junk plans. Now, I can always tell you this. I have been in the health insurance, specifically, not life insurance, not auto and home insurance, the health insurance industry since 2009. I've been in it from the beginning through all the middle, the mess, and now the best side of it of where we've been at. We will always help you in the right direction. You will never have to question your health insurance if you're working with me. We will get you into the best plan at the best price for your situation, regardless of what the government tries to pull on you. If you can tell I'm passionate and fired up this week, if you're watching it on camera and on social media, this is why. 239-633-3140. Again, 239-633-3140 or online at tylermcclosky.com or my company's website, www.rockethealth.com. That's rockethealth.com. I appreciate you all listening in this week. I hope I hit this point with you as I continue to every single week talk about only the facts, not feelings. Everybody have a great weekend. You've been listening to the Tyler McClosky Show.